A few months later, I actually made my first real trip out to Vegas. Brought like 40K, which I only had like 50 at the time, and I played
80% of your net worth.
Oh yeah, I was gambling, baby. I was gambling.
Phone just beeped. Got the notification to pick up the one and only Chance Kornuth. He might be the most charming person in all of poker, and I'm really excited to find out what makes him tick.
We did it.
We did it. Here with the one and only Chance Kornuth.
Happy to be here.
First thing I want to ask you, obviously, you've been in and around poker for a long time. You were in poker before you had a family. Now you've got a family. What is it like being in Vegas? I saw you tweet, actually, you're in Vegas for the first time since you've had a family without them. What is that like?
Well, like whenever I'm getting ready to go on a poker trip, whether it's to Florida for a WPT or, out here for the World Series, I'm always super excited. I'm going to summer camp. And then after a few days, I start to miss the family. The daughter starts to do things she wasn't doing before, and you start to feel like you're missing them. I'm lucky enough to have them come and, stay out here for a couple weeks. It'll be great to see them here, but it's also the benefit of them not being here is I can focus 100% on my job to be out here to make money and provide for the family. So it has its pros and cons for sure.
What is that like? I mean, you've got a daughter, you've got a wife, you got poker.
Yeah.
And all three are very demanding. How do you balance that?
Balance is something that I've always struggled with. And for me, it's okay, I go on a poker trip for 8 days, I play 12 hours a day, and then I go home and be a husband and father after that. It's very difficult to balance them on a day-to-day basis. I try to do my best to balance them on a week or month-to-month basis, just because, like you said, it's too hard. I'm out here, I'm playing every day for hours and hours, and I don't have 3 extra hours in the day to be a husband and a father when you're waking up, having breakfast, going to play for 12 hours, come home, you just need to rest. And so it's really, it's difficult to balance, and it is kind of a sacrifice and a trade-off we make as professional poker players.
We're taking you to coffee, but before we get to coffee, I do want to ask you about the big hand that everybody's talking about. This was just a few days ago at the World Series of Poker. You make this triple barrel call down with KingHigh. Talk us through that. I mean,
I limp King 8 in the small. Pretty standard at this stack depth. 8160, Ren checks, and it comes deuce, deuce, 5, 7, jack. I check call third on the flop, half on the turn, and 2/3 on the river. And when you land on the river, he's literally never betting a 5 or a 7 here for this size. He doesn't have a lot of jack X that bets the flop and turn. And so he's, it's either a bluff or a deuce. And so it's kind of a simple spot. Add in the fact that I was pretty sure physically that he was weak, and flick in the call and hope to win.
From a poker playing perspective, what gets you more excited? Is it making a crazy call like that and being right, or a great bluff?
Those are both headlines for me. I love making big bluffs, and sometimes I show them. Sometimes I just can't help myself. My ego takes over. And sometimes it's a calculated show where the person is very susceptible to tilt. And so there's a lot of fun spots that I do like to show bluffs, but it's also it's image too. You got to advertise to get paid, and that has a lot of value.
I've always wanted to know your early days as a poker pro, specifically here in Las Vegas. Talk about that for a moment.
My first ever trip was just some summer. I came out, I played one event when I was 21, and it was just a 1K satellite to the main. I remember getting in aces versus ace king suited, and he just flops a flush. So the dream was dead, went home, grinded online. And then a few months later, I actually made my first real trip out to Vegas, and I brought 40K, which I only had 50 at the time. and I played
80% of your net worth.
Oh yeah, I was gambling, baby. I was gambling. Bankroll management was never a strength. And I remember this like 3K tournament, and we were 7-handed. Ben Lamb was on my right, and he was at the end. We were at the end of the table in the 1 and 2 seat or 2 and 3 seat, and he was like raise folding every hand to 3 bets. Then like under the gun, he folds, and the cards kind of get like shown or flip over. Him and I have a different recollection of that part of the story, and they have to get exposed. And it was like ace 10 or ace jack. And I thought about it for a sec, and I look at him and I go, "You did that on purpose." And he goes, "I'm Ben. We need to be friends." Well, we hung out the next night, and I actually moved in with him a month later, and packed up all my stuff in Boulder. See Boulder where I was going to school. But like actually that confidence from just our exchange with him and hanging out with him that trip, that month I had my first like 50K day and 6-figure month.
50K day.
Yeah, I remember like grinding heads up online, and like I was just like destroying heads up PLO.
Talk about the transition for you from, poker player to now coach.
Yeah, I mean, the immense sense of pride that you have when a student has success just feels incredible. Like I remember talking to Foxon after he either got second or first in the 5 Diamond. I don't remember which time it was in back-to-back years. But I just like was so proud to see him like succeed and, watch him continue to succeed now. And even yesterday, one of our students got second in the online 500 bracelet event. Watching these guys and girls like do incredibly well, it's awesome. It's like, it's a testament to the coaching, and I just truly enjoy seeing them be successful. It's something that I enjoy.
I feel like a lot of poker players that I've talked to over the years, that I've talked to in the booth or whatever, have talked about the struggle of battling, their own demons. What am I doing for this world? I'm playing poker. How am I contributing to society? That kind of like angst. Is that something that you've struggled with in your life?
Yeah.
And has coaching helped?
100%. I actually wanted to be a math teacher. I had 2 math teachers.
You'd be the coolest math teacher. You'd seriously be the coolest math teacher. I wish you were my math teacher.
I had a couple math teachers in my life that like made a profound impact on my life. In fact, it was my college professor, Mr. Norris, who gave me the courage to drop out of school to become a professional poker player. He's like, "You're good at this. You're making money at it." He's like, "You can always come back to school if it doesn't work out." He's like, "Why are you still here?" And like his exact words as a math professor was like, "Why are you still here?" I'm like, well, that was kind of the push I needed to really take it seriously. And if it wasn't for like the lack of money involved being a teacher, I probably would do that. Like if I had, more zeros in the bank account, I would be a math teacher.
So we've developed a postcard.
Okay.
That is it's actually, here, I'll let you take a look at it.
It looks pretty good.
No, it's like.
Can I keep this?
Yeah, you can keep it. It's for you, okay?
Nice.
But what it's for is you can actually write a letter to a younger version of Chance Kornuth.
Ooh.
Whenever you think Chance maybe needed some help, maybe some advice.
You got a bunch of these?
I've got 3. What are you writing? And who are you addressing it to? What age?
That's pretty easy for me. The only tricky part would be the age. I'm going to go with 18-year-old Chance in college, and I would tell myself to be really careful with like alcohol and my addiction. Like I actually got sober, started getting sober in the last 2.5 years, and been completely sober for a while now, and that's like been one of the biggest changes in my life.
What was the moment? Was there an epiphany? Was it just you woke up one morning like, what am I doing?
I really began my journey into sobriety when my daughter was born. I wanted to be a sober father for her, to lead by an example of who she needs to be as an individual, and I didn't think I could do that while I was continuing to drink.
Yeah, I have had the privilege of commentating with you, and I've known you for a while now. I've always kind of, I don't want to say looked up to you, but I just really respect the way you went about yourself. And I'll tell you that the problems that you described that you were going through, you hit them well.
Thanks.
You hit them really well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like one of the things about addiction is like no one knows how bad it is except for the person who has the issue. Like I even had my closest friends who I would tell like a little piece to of each like, thing, but like no one knows the whole thing except for the person who's going through it. And yeah, it's just, part of what the the monster is. You know, you hide stuff, and you know, that's what I did.
Hey, man. Absolute pleasure.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Good luck to you the whole series.
Appreciate it.